Manners, respect, enough people. Everybody good? Everybody okay? Welcome to the last day in the month, people. Welcome to the end of March. Good morning, good afternoon, have a nice day. What it is to share. If you have nothing good to share, you can always share a smile. Right, people? Isn't it amazing? We have what we have, but we don't want what we have. We want other things. In people? We have what we have, but we don't want what we have. We want other things. Right, people? It's crazy. But I saw it go. It's crazy, people. But I don't know where it go already, right? Big up on yourself. People, yesterday was 1 year since my sister passed off. 1 year later, you know what I say? When people are alive, when I treat them like them alive, when people pass off, at that time people are putting effort and a ball. We miss them, we miss them, we miss her. That people say when you drop out. But enough situation where people can help you when you're alive. They're not there for you, people. Yeah, 1 year since my losing sister. R.I.P. It's like our biggest problem now, we don't live good. We don't live good with each other. Would like people to live good with we. We fight for people live good with we, but we don't live good with each other. And then we complain that people not treat you right. You hear me say? We complain that people not treat you right, but we not live good. We can't expect other people to treat you good and we not treat each other good enough. So the things that are going on right now with the brother that were ruin America. Lots of things is happening. Lots of like today them say them the judge them strike down some deportation order where them have to deport the people and they can't deport them to the country where they not belong to. Because them have some big prison in our one country where them are create up all of the people and fling them in. whether them a criminal or not. Enough of a few of the video them when we play with people them I talk about the situation what go on. So them have them big march I come up next Saturday for demonstrate against the evil where I go on in America. But people me tell you say the people them vote them people are in, you know. They vote these people in, know what the people them have to do, and the people them a do what them a do, and then them a complain. No, the people them can't change it, you know. Because all this man is doing is just writing executive order to get rid of this, mash up that, broke down that, tear up this, tear up that. And sometimes I look upon it, it's all of them things that's affecting people, but this man have an agenda. This man have an agenda. You know, the very fact that Obama win 2 term, right? Obama never really do nothing for change the rules of the game. But just the fact that Obama did get elected, that bond this a man so much. A man educated. Them things that bond this a man so much. A man will feel and feel and feel and feel. And just because them want to show say all the failures them them want to show say all the failures them are for them people. Them bail him out and give him tax cut, yeah, so this so. So when time I look in at society and see how things are going, people, I understand it more now. But the thing about it is, on both sides, every side we are get fight from. There's no side where we not get fight from. That's why I say the next generation have to understand why education and policies is so important. Them two things I wanna have to focus on. Policies will affect uno and education, so I'm smart enough to see what's going on. In terms of the things that my four parents do, for sure, them intelligence, them strength, them endurance. And you just listen to some of the story them from the food them what we used to get. Things them when nobody else no want. So I said them show all them movie that's pretty and all of them things there, you know. But that's not how it is. I'm gonna say it again. Evil people not have no color. Evil people probably hide behind a color, but evil people not have no color. We fi start say stop use the word this person or that person. If you use evil person, and if you stop use black or white or and if you just use evil so everybody knows that this person is an evil person. You no matter what form them come in, their mind is just evil, corrupt, dirty, vile, destructive, evil. That's evil. Anybody will try to destroy a race, community, culture, evil. Anybody will keep down a race, keep down a culture, evil. Anybody who want help on earth is evil. We can't call them the devil, because then tell lie upon the devil and say the devil is in the detail. And when we're looking at the detail, all I see is everything except the devil. So evil are gonna lie upon the devil, evil are gonna lie upon Jesus, evil are gonna lie upon us, evil just lie. Evil lie. Anywhere there's injustice, blood around. Anywhere there's injustice, somebody will get boxed up. That's just adjust how it's always been. I'm telling you, said justice is not blind. That's one of the stupidest thing me ever hear. Justice is blind. Justice is not blind. If you practice justice, it's the justice. Justice is supposed to be balanced. But what then do? Then blindfold justice and set the scale and balance. So in our whole mind, we have this idea that justice is unbalanced and justice is blind. You know, I see no justice because I'm not practice no justice. You know means the justice blind. I'm just not practice it. Equal opportunity for everybody. That not work. Right now, me just see good versus evil right now. I only see good versus evil right now. I wanna can see one of the most evilest person in our history. Uno can't call it or uno see it because uno probably rich. Have lots of money. I may try to sell two buckler sauce. Let me tell you, say, anything what you do, you need support. And most people not support you because them think say if they support you, you are gonna get rich. You are gonna get rich. Them support football, basketball, hockey, baseball. They support all of them things there. I never once think say them people are done rich already. Gucci, Prada. Them buy them same thing there. And now think say them people that are rich already. But it's okay for those people to be rich. But you, nah man, you don't deserve nothing. So many people, what me say? Some people just a check on you just to see if you're alive or if you're box up. And if them can't help you forget box up, that even better for them. You do your business and you sell your goods for $5. Them will tell you, say, all right, me have $3. Take it or leave it. I say sometimes it's better not to get any help than somebody help you down. Them not help you up, you know. Guarantee them not help you up. Them might help you down. So that's why I'm say before all it was before it was community, unity. It was support each other, respect each other. That are the next generation need to focus on. I'm telling you, say once some people have money, this a money generation. And can spend all $50,000 on a funeral. 50,000 US or 50,000 English money. But when you spend all them money upon somebody will get boxed up. When you not think about tomorrow. If the richest people them in the world are still look for make more money, and all I know do I use buy champagne and I be a dog with it. So I say food culture are the most hated culture, race or people, black in general. As long as you're dark, you're on target. So all if you not do nothing wrong, they expect you to do something wrong. They want you to do something wrong so you can prove them right. All when you do right, them still a give you wrong. When we look on the people, we are the hero, but them call we the villain. You look upon them, look upon the people them are call you a villain. Them are criminal. Legal criminals, yes, but them are still criminal. Tell them when time they write anything on paper, it don't mean nothing, you know. It only means something when it's in their benefit. Just things are going on in this a life, yeah. We just have said the next lifetime can't be like this. The next lifetime can't be like this at all. So people, me did I me highlight three Jim Crow video already, right? The rise and fall of Jim Crow. So this one here is part 4. It says part 3, but it's for me part 4 because I already do 3 part already. And this is um from Phoenix Sankofa. Right, I always say the channel them I'm gonna get the information from. Again, I give shout out for the people them put in them work and gather the information and stuff like that. And usually them have commercial upon them thing. But me say some of them nobody now want associate themselves to the program because them not want them brand associated to the truth. Any one of them where I go deep into the truth. Them no want associate them brand to that. I tell you how this society set up in people. When me look upon it even for the food company them for us we deal with food so much. We don't own a brand. We don't own like a big name brand. Most of them company they're not owned by us, they're owned by other people. I use food brand and I sell to food people. And food people now them love brand. Them love the brand them. Them not care as long as it's the most expensive or you can show people say them can afford this and afford that. But we not have no food brand where we can say yes. Me have a brand but my brand not big like that. I love for my brand big like that, but I'm telling you, in everything what you do, you need support. And again, people will say anything. And just cause them can't say anything, means say them have to do what them say. They can't just say it and move on. That's why for me, my word have to be bond for me. My word have to be good. Or as good as can be. Knowing some not perfect. But anyways, people, just say it's today the last of the month, so tomorrow first of the Fool's month, or the first of the month with them celebrate lying every day. But as we proceed, people,
Major funding for the rise and fall of Jim Crow is provided by the National Endowment for the Humanities, expanding America's understanding for more than 30 years of who we were, who we are, and who we will be. And by support from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people. Additional funding is provided by the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation.
World for the next. New York Life is proud to bring you remarkable stories of dedication, struggle, and triumph.
In May of 1918, there was a series of lynchings in Georgia. They came to the house of Hayes and Mary Turner and took Hayes Turner because they thought that he was involved in a conspiracy to kill a white plantation owner. They took him off and lynched him. His wife was 9 months pregnant.
And Mary Turner said that if she ever found out who committed these crimes against her husband, she was going to swear out a warrant and have them arrested. The mob went insane at the impudence of an African-American woman daring to challenge them. And they pulled her out of her home and dragged her to a river, strung her up, tortured her, lit her on fire, and she still wasn't dead yet. So a mob member came and cut open her womb, and the baby spilled out. And the baby was alive. And they stomped the baby. And then left Mary Turner and her child to die.
In the land of Jim Crow laws and customs, Mary Turner had done the unthinkable, and to the white supremacist, the intolerable. She had threatened to fight back. The World War had created a new impetus and a new competence in those writer Alan Locke called the New Negro. Thousands of blacks had migrated north to help build the instruments of war, and thousands of blacks had gone to Europe to fight in it. By the war's end, some 200,000 African Americans would serve their country in Europe in a segregated army. One all-black regiment, the 369th, would fight side by side with French soldiers as equals. In the end, the 369th spent more time fighting on the front lines than any other American unit. The men of the 369th earned an unprecedented number of French military honors, 171, Croix de Guerre, France's highest military medal. African American soldiers hoped that their patriotic service would earn them recognition, acceptance, and equality in American society upon their return.
African American veterans returning to their towns south of the Mason-Dixon line found themselves set upon, spat upon, and indeed brutally accosted.
I saw the black soldier fighting for democracy to make the world free And these people came back expecting the blessings of liberty and full deserts of freedom, coming back and being denied it.
There was a whole upsurge of reaction that said, if you think anything has changed because of this war, you've got a second and third thought coming.
But the outspoken black leader, W.E.B. Du Bois, is urging the returning veterans to fight in a new battle.
This guy, I'm telling you, say E.D. Du Bois again, people. This man show up right through history, you know. I remember said this a man never like Booker T. Washington idea for educate black people so black people can have them own instead of begging for a job. I'm gonna tell you, say just because of the situation from then, you know, it still affect we now because we don't have nothing. We don't. We don't have no business, big business to say. But we have like 50,000 employees are working at this business or not like that. One little restaurant here, one little restaurant there. That's about it. As we proceed, people, I'm telling you, say this Du Bois guy.
Make way for democracy. We saved it in France, and by the great Jehovah, we will save it in the United States, or know the reasons why. This country of ours, despite all its better souls have done and dreamed, is yet a shameful land. It gloats in lynching, disfranchisement, caste, brutality, and insults. By the gods of heaven, we are cowards and jackasses if we do not now marshal every ounce of our brain and brawn to fight a sterner, more unbending battle against the forces of hell in our own land. We return. We return from fighting. We return fighting. W.E.B. Du Bois.
On Sunday, July 27th, 1919, Eugene Williams, a 16-year-old black youth, crossed the invisible color line on a Chicago lakefront beach. Trying to swim away from attacking whites, he drowned, igniting racial fires. Roving bands of whites beat and killed unsuspecting blacks. Blacks fought back. At the riot's end, 15 whites and 23 blacks were dead. Jim Crow, said the Chicago Tribune, had come north. The Chicago riot had become part of the racial frenzy. Racial clashes, massacres, even lynchings in Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, Tennessee, and Arkansas. One organization stood firmly against this onslaught of evil. The NAACP.
Oh my goodness. Just not gonna say that. NAACP. I was just gonna say that, people. I'm gonna tell you, say right through history, this organization has been there, right? But again, it not have no teeth pretty much. As we proceed, I mean them fight then, but me not really see, or maybe me need to do more research into the NAACP. As we proceed, people.
The National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the foremost interracial civil rights organization in America. One man was becoming the unlikely hero of the NAACP's battle against racial terrorism. 27-year-old Walter White became the chief investigator of lynchings and massacres.
Okay, and Walter White, remember, the black guy, black person that could have passed as white, and him became an investigator of the lynching them. So people, me tell you, say, as me I go along, me I learn and me I remember, you know, as we proceed.
White's task was to come into the South, and one of the heroic stories, and we don't tell it anymore. Here was a black man who had blue eyes and blonde hair, who risked his life going among the lynchers, passing as a white man, and got the name.
That's funny, people. That is so funny. Because we don't know all them people and know what white is and them don't they can't tell. It's just it's just all them people are so smart, right? And do some me not look upon it as smart, me just look at it as evil. Because first of all, if you're smart, you wouldn't want to box up people just because of them skin color. But it's funny say him move along with them and them accept him. I'm gonna tell you say them people have mental issue too. And not just we alone. As we proceed.
Passing as a white man and got the names of many of white men who had been a part of lynch mobs.
At the NAACP, they thought White was risking his life. He knew he was. He wrote to his superiors,
I understand that this is dangerous. I take full responsibility if anything happens to me, and I hold you not liable in the event of my injury or death. Walter White.
As the summer of 1919 drew to a close, White read a newspaper account claiming that black farmers near the town of Elaine, Arkansas, had incited an armed uprising against the local white community.
I was eager to go to the scene and left for Arkansas on the first train after we had scraped up enough money for the fare. Walter White.
When White arrived, he discovered that black farmers, tired of continually being cheated out of their fair share of the cotton crop, had formed a union to sue their landlords.
They were meeting in a Negro church in Hoopsburg. When a white mob fired on the church, the fire of the attackers was returned and one of the assailants was killed. The match had been applied to the powder keg. Within a few minutes, efficiently directed, heavily armed mobs swept over the countryside, hunting down and killing every Negro they could find. Walter White.
People, again, evil people. Them can't kill what they no like get killed. That's the thing. How is it you like do to others what you don't like do to you? And that much I show you if justice never set up that way that you think it would be an even fight. It's never an even fight. Not when injustice is one of the things them where them use. Lies. Nothing not change. As we proceed.
They could find Walter White.
When the killing stopped, some said as many as 200 blacks had been killed. Hundreds were arrested, 12 sentenced to death for killing whites. But even as White was uncovering the evidence which would ultimately free all of the accused, he found himself suddenly in danger.
I was interviewing some whites when a black man told me that my identity had been discovered and a lynching party was prepared for me. I boarded the first train out of Helena. The conductor said, "You're leaving just before the fun is about to start. There's a damn yellow nigger down here passing for white, and the boys are gonna get him."
Oh boy. That much I show you. Them did have Eddie Murphy did do a skit on a Saturday Night Live when him dressed up like one white man. Hang up on the bus. I'm telling us say, yo people. Me no want to change my skin for nothing, But if me could have just disguise myself, me always say that. I'd rather be invisible to go certain places. Because then you'll really see how people think. But me say him did have the opportunity to do it and you hear how the people them talk. So I wonder if Eddie Murphy did see this yeah. Oh boy. As we proceed, people.
Nigger down here passing for white, and the boys are gonna get him. And when they get through with him, he won't pass for white no more. No matter what the distance, I shall never take a train ride as long as that one. Later in Memphis, I learned that news had been circulated there that I had been lynched in Arkansas that afternoon. Walter White.
As Walter White returned to the safety of the North, one of the darkest chapters of Jim Crow was about to be written. In the early 1920s, Tulsa, Oklahoma, was home to one of the most prosperous African-American communities in the country. The Greenwood District was home to some of the greatest Black entrepreneurs of the time. Their investments earned it the reputation as Black Wall Street. But the sight of increasing evidence of Black competence and confidence was not what the white supremacists of Tulsa wanted to see. They stayed in the shadows like a coiled snake, waiting for the opportunity to strike. On the afternoon of May 31st, 1921, the Tulsa Tribune ran a front-page story entitled, "Nab Negro for Attacking Girl." The inference, in the language of the day, meant a Black man had raped a white woman. Within hours, Tulsa, Oklahoma exploded into possibly the worst race riot in American history. That night, angry mobs of white men roamed the city, setting fires, going door to door, and killing Blacks at random. There were reports of drive-by shootings, firebombings, and lynchings. By the next morning, Greenwood lay in ashes. Some 35 city blocks had been burned to the ground. "6,000 Blacks had been rounded up by the mob, over 800 wounded. 300 African Americans lay dead. Not a single white was ever prosecuted."
You could not keep a people as committed to justice and growth as African Americans in this country in a subordinate status without the threat of violence. Domestic terrorism was the might behind Jim Crow. It was the might behind racial apartheid. Racial apartheid in this country could not be accomplished simply with ideologies. It was reinforced and sustained by terrorism. It created fear. It intimidated people. It was how racial subordination was sustained.
For many Southerners in the 1920s and 30s, lynching was a family affair. Gordon Parks remembers his first lynching when he was 9.
We live down here about 10 miles from Gainesville and over in Cummings, about 20 miles. And they had this nigger slave cutting wood. Back then we had wood stoves, wood heat with wood. And they left their daughter there, 17-year-old. And she was took a bath, was dressed, and then got in front of the picture window. And this nigger man was cutting wood, and he took and broke in and raped her and tore her clothes off of her. And then when the parents come home, she told them, they called my grandpa, he was Grand Dragon, and my daddy was he was the wizard, and my daddy was Grand Dragon. And they got about 100 people and went over there, and we went and got him. And grandpa said I could go with him.
Yeah, what I'm saying? We went and got him. So them are people apartheid too, you know. I look on this man and look just like, look, if you look on them people, I'm telling you, you can't see the devils there, you know. When time you look on some of them people, you can't just see the evil. Absolutely evil in them.
We went to the house, and then this Klansman got him. We took him down the road, dirt road stand. They paved, one paved in. Took him down there, and this big old tree, and there's about 200 down there. And they set him down, had his hands tied behind him. And grandpa asked me, told my daddy to let me ask anybody to have anything to say, you know, before they pull him up the tree and hang him. And I asked anybody to have anything to say, and one man said, yeah, I got something to say to him. He opened a big old knife. It had a blade on it that long, I reckon. he took and cut him from year to year, and then they put the rope around the snake and pulled him up in the tree. And we stayed there about an hour. They hung him in the tree to be sure he died before they left.
Lynchings in the South had soared to record numbers. In 1919 alone, over 90 African Americans were lynched, and nearly one lynching every 4 days.
This tremendous increase in lynchings after World War I threatened the ability of the NAACP to be an adequate spokesperson for people of color who were terrorized in many of these communities. And so White and others recognized that lynching had to become more of a priority in the campaign to protect the rights of Black people.
Relief from physical terrorism was critical to all of the other rights that people would strive for, the right to vote, the right to protest. I mean, if you risk your very life by doing that, I mean, you're exposed to the possibility of a lynching. That form of terrorism was just brutal for building a movement for civil rights reform in the South.
In the North, in the early 1900s, the anti-lynching crusaders had taken their protests to the streets. In 1922, they would provide major support to the NAACP as the fight against lynching became the NAACP's top priority.
We feel that what we need to do now is to dramatize as highly as possible the whole question of lynching. We have decided to insert in newspapers of wide circulation a full-page advertisement in which we are to put in as startling manner as possible the hell truths about lynching, of which the American public is so woefully ignorant. Walter White.
But while Walter White and the leadership of the NAACP were trying to counteract the complacency of white Americans, one of the founders of the NAACP had a very different idea of how to overcome racial injustice. For W.E.B. Du Bois, editor of his literary magazine, The Crisis, change required the building of a strong, educated African American community.
Education and work are the levers to uplift the people. Work alone will not do it unless inspired by the right ideals and guided by intelligence. Education must not simply teach work, it must teach life. W.E.B. Du Bois.
Okay, and yes, me understand that. But Booker T. Washington, right? Him never have to disagree with the fact that the key part of our existence wasn't important. And that's what I say. Just because Booker T. Washington did a fight so hard, right? And him come along and say two good words, two pretty words. Same politician then do the same thing, you know. When we used to listen to the politician, them say some whole sentence and say one word, one big word, when I have nothing to do with the sentence. But the people, them so foolish. Them say yes, him say a big word. And I saw them get them vote. Even today, people fall over pretty word. I mean, I say for you, if you get your point across, you know, if you talk nice, you know. But if that's all you do, talk nice, then it's just hot here. You know me nothing. I mean, I said the boy was a hot here. I just say the way we are today, if we did a focus on both of them and not just one, and things are through history would have been different. As we proceed, people.
W.E.B. Du Bois.
To Du Bois, no place was better equipped to train black leaders than his alma mater, Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee. Established in the 1880s by the American Home Mission Society, it had been for many blacks a way out of the cycle of violence and repression of the South. Fisk had given rise to the first generation of the new Negro.
Fisk in the 20s is considered the #1 black college in America. Students all over are trying to get into Fisk. They were committed to a kind of civil and political equality that challenged traditions, challenged slavery, challenged Jim Crow, challenged the black codes, and so forth. And Fisk represented that whole tradition.
But in 1924, the white president of Fisk, Fayette Avery McKenzie, would begin a fundraising campaign that would place these traditions at risk. To raise $1 million, McKenzie turned to Southern and Northern philanthropists.
He invited the foundations into Fisk. He pretty much said to them that we will change our ways. We will stop agitating for civil and political equality. We will stop agitating against Jim Crow, against racism in the South. We'll make our peace with the South.
McKenzie refused to allow a chapter of the NAACP on campus, and the only version of the crisis that could be found in the university library was censored.
They began to change the Fisk curriculum for the first.
Sound familiar, people? Are the same thing this a man I don't know, you know. Man, know I mashed on the black museums because them have found them. I tell you, say this money thing, people. That's why I say UIC now gonna away because them now get no big bag of money. And once the people them pay on if you do certain things, you hear where man a lobby for. The man want get money, and the only way him go get money is unless he make sure say no curriculum no in the school. So make you think no curriculum no in the schools them nowadays. You know them a look for shut down school, run out teachers, all of them things here. Are the same dummy down thing, you know. But imagine some people gravitate to the stupidness. Fully dumb. That means that them people now have to do no work, you know. It's like say them just go to the slaughterhouse, lie down upon the table, chain up themselves and just press the button and split themselves in a two. As we proceed, people, like say them people never fight for nothing. I saw this a generation make it look that these people didn't fight for nothing. As we proceed.
The first time they began to talk about an industrial education program and what was the quintessential liberal arts institution among the black colleges.
In New York, W.E.B. Du Bois, shocked by what he was told, wrote,
"Colored youth must be given a broad vision of truth. My disappointment has continued as charge after charge against Fisk policies reaches me."
For Du Bois, this was a corruption of the ideals and purposes of this institution and the larger objectives of intellectual emancipation of people of color.
As the industrialists became more involved in Fisk University, it was clear that Fisk's most distinguished alumnus was the one person that they didn't like. And so they sort of said to Fisk, separate yourself from Du Bois.
But in 1924, with his daughter graduating from Fisk, Du Bois would get the platform he wanted to make his views known.
Fisk had to invite him back. I mean, he was, without question, their most distinguished alumnus. His daughter was graduating. Everything seemed appropriate. The students wanted him to come back. The alumni wanted him to come back.
You see, or them consider him distinguished. I never know what distinguished mean. Huh? Distinguished? He was the most distinguished. As we proceed, people.
So they brought him back. They should have known better.
And so Du Bois came, and in that wonderful chapel there at Fisk, Du Bois delivered an address which he called Diuturni Silenti, the Latin of which was borrowed from Cicero's address to the Roman Senate, in which Cicero had said for long years he had been silent, but he would remain silent no longer.
In Fisk today, discipline is choking freedom. Threats are replacing inspiration. Ironclad rules, suspicion, and tale-bearing are almost universal. The Negro race needs colleges. We need them today as never before. But we do not need colleges so much that we can sacrifice the manhood and womanhood of our children to the thoughtlessness of the North or the prejudice of the South. Ultimately, Fisk will and must survive. The spirit of its great founders will renew itself, and it is that spirit, once reborn, that calls us now. W.E.B. Du Bois.
Mackenzie had achieved his goal. Fisk had $1 million endowment, but Mackenzie had a rebellion on his hands. The students called for a strike.
They said they were going to strike and just leave the university. So a whole bunch of them just walked off. So they went back home. And I said, well, I can't follow the crowd. I'm going to see for myself. So I went over to Dr. Mackenzie's home and talked with him about what his views were. He wasn't going to change his views. And I told him I was sorry. I enjoyed his children, enjoyed teaching them at Sunday school, but I was going too. So I left Fisk.
And you see, together them leaving up. And that me tell you, we can't come together for nothing, people. I just look on it sometimes, and see all them people are in a desperate situation. The people then come together for change how things is. Meanwhile, the people them just accept how things is. I can't bother ya. Me nah no time. Enough of my business. Everything. Some of the things that me hear from me are growing up. Just failure. That's why I say it has to be like-minded people who are going to change it. It can't be people who just want for them slice of the cake. From me grow me hear some things in a few culture. Negative. Never positive. That's why I say the next generation, all of them things they don't have to understand. You don't have to understand. Because you see, when all them talk about a party and party and all of them things there, party and party now make no future. When me say right you know, me no see no entertainers, me no see nobody a come out and I say nothing. The only people them want to do the fight right now are the lawyers, right? And the advocates. And them a fight through policies, them a bring it to court, them a do all of them things here. But me no see no entertainer come out and I say nothing. As we proceed, people.
Over half of Fisk's enrolled students walked away rather than live with Mackenzie's autocratic policies. 2 months later, on April 16, 1925, Mackenzie finally resigned. The students returned victorious. The cherished freedoms they had fought for had been restored.
You see? Eventually, I'm have to quit. Eventually, I'm have to leave. So everything we do, people think that it no matter. It no matter. It does matter. Everything where you do matter. It should matter to you, even though it no matter to other people. Enough time I work at places and people tell me, say, yo, what you have to do such a good job for, pretty much. Them people are junk, or them people are this, them people are that. But just because them people are this and them people are that, me I get paid for do the very best job what me can do. Me I practice to get better. And skills are something where you can take anywhere you go. Your skills, you can bring them anywhere. Bring them on a plane. Bring them on a ship. So everything what we do, it matter. As we proceed, people.
Had fought for had been restored. In the crisis that spring, W.E.B. Du Bois drew his conclusion.
The fight at Fisk University is a fateful step in the development of the American Negro. It involves the tremendous question as to whether Negro youth shall be trained as Negro parents wish, or as Southern whites and Northern copperheads demand. Let the attention of no Negro be distracted from this main and crucial point. W.E.B. Du Bois.
To Du Bois, the fight at Fisk was a lesson in survival. But survival to be what? To do what?
The North is no paradise, but the South is at best a system of caste and insult, and at worst, a hell. Brothers, come north.
Those who came, like writer Zora Neale Hurston and poet Langston Hughes, were part of what Du Bois called the talented tenth.
The whole point of his talented 10th was that the people who could lead should lead to benefit those who could not take such an activist role.
And remember, we hear about the talented 10, but they never really say nothing about the talented 10 until now, who the talented 10 are. As we proceed, people, I'm telling you, say, it's like, well, everything is connecting, you know. I'm telling you, say, it's one big book, but the pages are scattered everywhere. That's why I'm saying, would I like to write a book with all of the pages them in one place, so we can understand. Once you open it, you understand. All you have to do is just open this book. And even now, Mr. People, we can't open up books, you know. We can't open up books. There's nothing stopping us from opening up books, except we stopping ourselves. As we proceed, people.
Who could not take such an activist role.
He said that those who had the opportunity to go to college had an obligation to give back to the community, to become leaders, and to be able to speak in circles where the masses were not going to be afforded an opportunity to participate. So the talented 10th was not for the purpose of snobbery, but for the purpose of service and responsibility.
For Black artists like sculptor Augusta Savage, being responsible meant telling the truth, all of it, as they saw it.
They wanted to write about the street. They wanted to write about the funky side of Black life. They wanted to write about the real people, quote unquote. And in 1926, Langston Hughes says, "We want to hear the voice of Bessie Smith. We want to hear the moans and groans of the blues. None of this, high-tone stuff. We are proud of our Black, dark-skinned selves."
And that, Mr. People, just be proud of who you is, the skin where you're born in. That something is so great within itself. Because even though they curse with skin and we love with skin, the moment we start hate with skin, it take we out of ourselves, We're taken away from ourselves. Like so we'd rather be outside. And so even within your mind, we talk about the space where you're supposed to have free. All that the space that you give it up. Because that hunger hate you find within yourself. That's why I say if we great more is that we have that within ourselves. We have that soul. We have that spirit, love that can be measured. Right, AI? That is something where, no matter how much them create and make humanize, We still can't have that. That's what makes us so unique. We cannot be copied. We can only be duplicated. Our greatness is transformed into each and every one of us. There's no middleman between us, and that's the problem. Them are the middleman, because they come from nowhere. Our existence go way before. And that's one of the problems too. There's many problems. I'm telling you, said that's one of them too. The very fact that nobody can be like us. But we don't understand that. We don't understand that. There's nobody can be like we. How can anything be like the original? Huh? Look how much great artists pass off and nobody no replace them. Take them spot. Them have people sound like them. But so just in that case alone, we cannot be replaced. That's why we have to hold on to a past in a sense, so we have to learn about it, understand it. So anytime we have a conversation, we can just draw any one of them from our past and make them stand in front of we. That are the greatness of us, you know. We cannot be duplicated. We are the original. And will always be the original. Not for the AI, them are going to come and them are going to fight and I say, oh, we are the original. Yeah, we are the original duplicate. We know always going to be duplicated. Replica, all of them stuff there. But never the original. We cannot be beaten. We can be cheated, lied to, all of them stuff here. But anything don't do it, will always be here. And that's our next problem. Not everybody's gonna be here. As we proceed, people.
They were musicians, artists, and writers, finding their voice. Many had come from the South in the great migration of talent. Harlem had become the mecca of the new Negro. A cultural revolution had exploded, breaking through Jim Crow barriers and establishing a black presence.
You see? Look how much barrier we have to break through, people. We have the color barrier, we have the Jim Crow barrier, we have the red line barrier, we have just imagine if people just leave we alone. If evil people just leave we alone. But the thing with evil people, that's what evil people are. They're just evil. There's nothing about evil people. There's nothing about them. That's why me no see how we keep on calling evil people a color when all they are is just a shape. All they are is just a shape. So one of the things we need to stop do is call people color when they're evil. All they are is just evil. Can we get that thoughts of just say this evil person? A criminal is a criminal. Them have a specific name for criminal, right? Them call them criminal. Then call a person with thief. Them call a toucher. Yeah? Why would they have these names, but we don't apply the names them to the things where we need to apply them to? We don't have to stop give color to evil. This is one of the biggest thing, you know. Una give enrichment. You guys are giving these evil people enrichment by calling them a color. You see one of the problems we have? We love give titles, wrong title to stuff. A teacher is a teacher. Do you call a teacher a thieving teacher? So call a thief a thief. Call an evil person an evil person. Once you put on this thing upon them, you just bunch them in with the good people them. That's one of the things I say from the beginning now. I say, oh, we just convolute everything, we just call everything one thing and don't separate it. There's so much compartment in our mind, so much different doors and windows in our mind. Imagine if you just close all of the windows, close all of the doors, and just put everything in a one room. That's darkness. You can't differentiate between what is what and who is where and all of them stuff there. We're thinking, people. How we think in this mindset. Our thoughts is ours. You need to feed on your mind good information, positive information. Not for on trap within on your mind. I want to know if you free on yourself. That's a one frustration where we have. Not everybody are the same color. I got through the 12 colors already. So some people stuck in a one color where them don't represent. Wanna put them in a one color where them not represent. Wanna give them big title where them no want them no want a big title. They just wanna be called evil. Them just wanna be called destructive. You can't give them a title that they didn't earn. That's me say. If a person drive on truck, on tractor trailer, and him happy with driving this tractor trailer, you don't want to put him in a one Lamborghini so he can go 100 miles an hour. But this person was born to be in a truck. And if he's born to be in a truck, just call him a truck driver and done. Just accept him, say him a one truck driver. In a few mind, we want to put him in a Lamborghini and put him on the fast road. That's our downfall. I am so sick and tired of people calling evil people a color. Once we start do that, man, I'm telling you, it's not big things, It's not big. I'm telling you, if you just broke down the building and start over brand new. All I say is some adjustments we need to make with how we think, with the mindset. We talk about mindset in a stone, in a concrete, in a tombstone. We have to be able to think and not just the same way where they give you over and over. Learn something new so you can practice it. Almost 3 months it take me to say manners respect. Manners respect without splitting it. Because the two of them balance each other. So if it take me 3 months just for change, and sometimes I still say it, because we're not perfect. But how we think are one of our biggest downfall. As we proceed,
in the heart of white America. But the Mecca was more like an oasis. At least that's how it looked from the South, where 80% of Black Americans lived, where cotton was king, and sharecropping, surviving on a share of the crop you produced on another man's land, was a way of life for poor blacks and poor whites.
The South was the poorest region in the country. It was dependent on a plantation economy that was totally dependent on cheap labor. The sharecropper, who was really the poorest of the poor, was trapped in a culture of poverty.
The price of cotton on a world market had collapsed in the 1920s. And because of the decline in cotton, the landlord was nickeling and diming everything, he can get, which made more difficult the lives of sharecroppers.
The man would take it out the field, take your cotton, and then the man in the store, you had credit, he run the books up on you, so you didn't have nothing. You work a whole year.
But that, me tell you them people, yeah. So, me tell you, sir, pretty much right where the world be span, free labor. And the younger person, them people that see, what we get free labor from are we. Because them did Chinese, them did do the, have the Chinese people them work on the railroad. But the Chinese people them couldn't last because them never built for that. So them dead off. The same thing with the coal, and couldn't take the coal. We can't take the coal, but we can survive in the coal. I don't like the coal enough. But I've been here long enough to deal with it. So all of them things here is our story, people. It always come down to free labor. Even now, I'm telling you, say, oh, Coca-Cola call ISIS upon the people them. After them forget pay. Remember, say them hire them, These people didn't come into the warehouse can work with out of them own free will. Them hire them people and then they call ISIS upon them people. So free labor are the biggest thing them people want, So they can go sip champagne and then can drive them Lamborghini and then can have them big yacht. The same thing. It not change. Because we haven't changed it. We fought for changes. We fight for change right through history, It doesn't mean say it change. When we say technology upgrade every day, then give you 30 of the same iPhone, 40, 50, 60. But society hasn't grown because the woman say Kamala Harris, if she win, she gonna take the job from the white man them and give it to the black man. Jesus. So the mentality not change. The mentality hasn't changed for them. And I don't think it will. So we have to change things. We have to change it, educate, work together. As we proceed, people.
Have nothing. You work a whole year and hand pick 40 bales of cotton and come out with nothing.
You couldn't get out there and argue with him. Well, dude, he's just going to tell you to get out of his house. And then you got to go find you another one that's going to do the same thing to you.
And if you don't think it's a joke, that's why I tell you the same time I go to them restaurant and I work for them companies, and then try to rip me off. I take them to court. I don't care if them blackball me, or whiteball me, I will not work for a company, so them company and thief me for my paycheck every day. And I gotta go put in my hard work. The amount of places where I work and all of them are the same, all of these places. The moment they find out, say, they can't do that to you. They don't want you around. They don't want you around. Once you can figure out what go on, but you can run them business by yourself. You can probably put them business together. If 10 people call in sick, the job still have to get done. And when you look on your paycheck, and I like say, boy, them say, well, you know, so that day you have 5 people calling, so we are gonna give you $20 for the 5 people them wanna work 8 hours. How much money that? Them a look for thief you same way. I sent time I have a video cameraman and I videotape the same thing them. From all one of the paycheck, me write on it and tell them say, this is for your kids scholarship fund, the money we're missing off on my paycheck. I tell them say, me not keep people. When me say, if I work for it, I am supposed to get it. And if me have to bring them a court figure get to me forget one of the man use one different ink pen for change it the rate on the paper, you know, when I got quote, you know. So the reason why I know them things is because I've been through these stuff. I got quote and the woman tell me say she go rule in favor of the landlord, even though the landlord going on my apartment without the permission. So enough of them things that them people have got through, it hasn't changed, and we not pay attention to it. I'm telling you, some fight them WSIB people for so long. Because all of them people have the mentality say, you're not supposed to get nothing out of nothing. We are not supposed to have anything. And anything we have not belong to we. It's always been that way. As we proceed.
Thing to you. Poor white people and black people was pretty much in the same boat. Because all they was to them people is somebody to walk behind a horse.
In their material lives, in what they had to eat, in the kind of work they did, in what they wore, in the houses they lived, white and black tenant farmers and sharecroppers were closer than any other two groups of people you can imagine in America.
We didn't know anything.
And you see, enough of we used to live with them, and them used to live with we. But when them start come out with this, everybody white and everybody over there so black. Obviously, if somebody call me white, me I go hang up on the white side. And if they call me black, me I go hang up on the black side. So this is when I tell you say the divide and the conquer thing. This is why you have to have two parties all the time. So two people can fight over the two party them. My party better than your party. Your party and nothing to my party. Not what them a do for we know, but just the fact that me love this a party and you love that the party there. Split down the middle. So even though we grew up in the same poor with them, once they come out with this title, oh, white is right and black are back. I talked to this friend of mine one time, you know, and I tell him, say, look, man, you do that tell me about some problem we might have, and I tell him, say, look here, you might think, say, your problem or the hunger problem, but all of we have the same problem because we have the problem of the skin. And any problem where them have, them can put it on the skin. Anything wrong, if the sun not come out, you can't blame it on your skin. Because this mentality where them have, it's always been there to say, we are the problem. So anything come out, you have to look upon this person and say this person is a problem. I've been in situation, people. What me say? Enough situation that I've been in. It's the same situation from back then to now. Because evil people always think the same way. The best thing about an evil person is that them 100% evil. The worst thing about an evil person is that them 100% evil. So you know what you get from an evil person? Absolute evil. If we can't understand them things, it not gonna change nothing. We need to stop give people title where them not earn. As we proceed,
We didn't know anything about what you call it, discrimination or whatever. We didn't know anything about anything because we was all like a family. Every time we look out the door, it was a white child coming with a bucket. And we said, Mama, there comes so-and-so with a thank you, ma'am bucket. And my dad never said don't. And my mama give you a head if she thought she could get back on her shoulder. Well, Dad was a different person. He didn't let nobody run over him.
MMA's daddy was Ned Cobb, an uneducated black sharecropper who prospered, helped by a literate wife and renowned stamina. He bought new acres of good farmland.
now tell me, how this a man uneducated and him a prosper? That makes sense? Huh? How can an uneducated person prosper? That makes absolutely no sense. An uneducated person prospering? How does them two words never go together? Uneducated prosper. So that means that the man have sense. The man had sense, sensibility. The 5 sense what we're born with, and we have more sense than 5. And just because them uncle know 5. People. We have spider sense. With spider sense called gut feelings. We have spirituality sense. That means that we know good from evil. That the one that really clouded. That the one that really clouded. Because in our today days, again, it seems like say all of the doors and windows them lock and them in the dark. As we are see people a cheer and a galang for evil people. I wonder if the devil them a worship. So me not see how an uneducated person can be successful. And him not born in our other skin. A privilege. If him not born in a privilege. So this a man never uneducated. This a man probably couldn't read, but the man have sense. That's why I say, if you have sense, that's a lot. Enough people have education and stupid like a bat. If a person can't hate you because of your skin, isn't that stupidity? How much degree you can have and you can look on the next person and say that person is worthless just because you deem him worthless? So you're not going to dead like him too. And a bunch of people were afraid of death so much. Eh? Or them afraid of getting boxed up so much. And them love box up other people. Them things that just make me wonder sometimes, people. As we proceed.
Farmland, mules, even a second automobile.
He loved the land. It was clear how much he loved the work that he did. He was a farmer, no schooling. He happened to spend his life walking behind a mule and a plow, but he had a genius. He had a great mind.
You see what I talk about? So how can this man be uneducated and he's a genius and have a great mind? Huh? You don't understand sometimes people, when them talk, we don't have to pick out the sense out of it. Because me can't tell you say this a man is a smart man from them say uneducated and 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 looking to better himself. Because an uneducated person is pretty much a dunce. In today's society, a dunce is an uneducated person who don't want to be educated. So instead of them say, okay, fine, I don't know, but I'm willing to learn, them say me dunce and me good with that. Me no understand how you can call yourself chink and maggot, and that's love for yourself. Me no, you see the thinking are not so of the thinking mindset in cement. Me no know people. Sometimes me tell them say the things that me listen to. Me I wonder if them people are think about what them a say other than just a say it. And at that we born with. We born with a great mind. A great mind. We have that even with with imperfection and with issues, with scars and everything else. I'm telling you, say, given the opportunity, me know how far my company did would I reach, cause me, trust me, the way I have everything planned out. But this man had a great mind. And once you have a great mind, you can't lose. You can be cheated. As we proceed, people.
He had a genius. He had a great mind. He was able to make sense of the things, as he said, things that touched him.
But being a black landowner in Tallapoosa County, Alabama, was dangerous. Black success frightened whites.
They looked hard. They didn't stop looking. They don't like to see a nigga with too much. They don't like it one bit.
And how has things changed, people? Oh, has that changed? Just buy a new car. All you have to do is just buy a new car and drive the regular speed down the road and make them punch you in a license plate. How much basketball player, football player? One of them last year was him play for thing there. Him play for Miami Dolphin. Man I get enough money. And this time when I drive and police all them all and pull him. And then at the end of the day, no charge was laid against him. So that much I show you past and present are the same. It's the same. Absolutely, it's the same. Until we learn and understand why we need to change it. You're not supposed to have nothing. Absolutely nothing. That's why I'm saying I stop talking about my business and time I go out there. Because just the very fact that I have one little business and it able I make thousands and thousands of dollars a month. Just the fact that I own it for myself and I have ambition to do what I want to do. That not sit well with enough people. Even in my own skin. People are telling me, oh, why didn't I think of that idea? You don't have to think of my idea. You can't think of there's so much other ideas out there. You can't come. Why you want the idea when me have? Just because I'm not supposed to have anything. I'm going to tell you something, your own people show you that and consistently rub it in your face. And then them same one go out there and expect other people to make them get what they want. You can't stop somebody and expect to go. That's why I'm saying I push out car mama out there. Car mama, me call upon you. So just open the door. As we proceed, people, Oh yeah, and by the way, at 12 o'clock now, so welcome to Orange Month. And you see how easily 1 month transform into the next month. From yellow to orange. Welcome to celebration of Fool's Day. How much people go call you today and tell you say you win millions of dollars? Like say them go call you every day and tell you the same thing. Huh? As we proceed, people.
White people was afraid the money would make the nigga act too much like his own man. Ned Cobb.
In a sense, the white upper classes, white ruling classes, have ruled by dividing white and black working people from each other. Ned was aware of that history, and that history helped fuel his own opposition.
In 1931, Ned Cobb would find a way to express his opposition to the system. The American Communist Party, which had been gaining support from a struggle to achieve better working conditions for Northern workers, had come south.
In the South, the Communist Party was the only political organization that took a stand against segregation and for racial equality and acted on it and embraced the struggle at a very basic level.
In the face of aggressive opposition from the Ku Klux Klan, the party intensified its efforts to recruit Alabama farmers into a union called the Sharecroppers Union.
Okay, and I heard about the Sharecroppers Union. Me just hear a little bit about the Sharecroppers Union. I know them I explain say it's pretty much the farmers them getting together and starting a union. So that may I try to show you most of the things them people are used today. It's stuff that we created back then. Right? People, I say we are walking history, We don't have to set up a laboratory for our creation, We talk about the two inventor from Africa, right? We invent the arms and the legs them for amputees. And then pick up scraps from junkyard and sitting like that. Meanwhile, them scientists have to use minerals and the most expensive thing them for make. I don't understand. Oh, you can call them people a genius when them have to use the most expensive material to make them a same thing. Why can't you be creative? We just got a junkyard and find something and make something out of nothing. Instead of if you have the best to make the best, what's so great about that? When you're in a laboratory all day, all night, I experiment on this and I experiment and I kidnap people and I do the same experiment. What good is that? Huh? What kind of genius are that? And that may I try to show you the things that we want to idolize and say, oh, this is the greatest. Eh? I'm telling you, when I go to college, I see them I make stock, right? Because you can make stock from pretty much anything. When I see them people I make all stock, when me little bit, me telling the people, when me little bit around 5, 6 years old, I see my grandfather I make fish tea, right? And I see the man boil out the fish bone them and strain it out with the rag. And that's why I say when I see him do them things as a little kid, me I say, what am I do? And that in my head, But that man was a genius. Rest in peace, Mr. Tom. This man I do things when I go to college, go see them I do. And this man I never go no college. So I'm telling you, say we are walking genius. We are. I can never deny for your greatness. Stupidity, yes. Because even as great as we is, some of the things that we do, it absolutely blow my mind. As we proceed, people,
Our farmers into a union called the Sharecroppers Union. The communists were astonished as 6,000 farmers responded.
Ned associated the Union with, in fact, the Yankees who had come down in the period of Civil War and just after in Reconstruction to free slaves. And he said that his grandmother had told him that the Yankees had come down and started the job, and somebody would come and finish it. And when he met the organizers of the Sharecroppers Union, he thought the prophecy is filled, the time has come.
He had joined the union, and he was the president, he was the spokesperson for the union, and he felt that it was his obligation to protect the people in that area.
Several months after joining the union, Ned Cobb took his gun and went to the home of his neighbor Cliff James to confront the sheriff who was enforcing a foreclosure on Cliff James's land.
And Ned says, please go back to the people who instructed you and tell him the situation. He will pay them what he owes them. And the sheriff said, no, we're going to take what he has got this morning. Go in there and get that mule. Ned said, if you take it, you'll take it over my dead body. And the sheriff says, well, back out. He says, back out. He says. And then the sheriff turns to him and says, you already done said enough for me to be done killed you. And Ned says, you want to kill me? Kill me. There's nothing but the air between us. Nothing but the air. He had on a long coat, and he had kept that gun hidden in his coat. A shot is fired. Shooting begins. And Ned pulls out that Smith & Wesson, and he says, I unloaded it, he said, and it sang to me like a baby.
I unloaded it and it sang to me like a baby. People, remember I said them people are evil, you know? There's no good in these people. There is absolutely no good in our evil person. They're just pretending to be good. As we proceed, and you see how easy them people are ready to take your land though. That's why I say we're not supposed to have anything if it was up to them. You say them want to take everything from we. Left with nothing. Even though if them get everything, it would never make them. You see, if we give them everything and we stand up over here, so people, I don't really think so them would have just leave we alone, so. Why them wouldn't leave we alone? Why? Question mark, I mean. When some stuff use like question mark. Them won't leave we alone. That's what we do. Is what we do. Oh, people. I'm telling someone can come here and turn on my YouTube channel, hang out with AI and 2 or 3 people. I'm good enough. No argument with nobody, me no in no fight with nobody. That's why I'm saying I'd rather be by myself, people. Because I can't find things to entertain me and educate me. Not just laugh like one madman or totally madman. But find things to occupy my time and my mind without me get involved with people in a mix-up, in a backstabbing, in a hurting people. All of them things that I don't want to be around them. The toxic people. Every day them in a fight with somebody. Every day them get up to argue with somebody. Every day them just get up, have no purpose, no sense of nothing. Sad people, sad. A mind is a great thing not to waste. If them could only find it and own it. Own it? Or own nothing. As we proceed, people.
He said, and it sang to me like a baby. Most of those shots hit the trees. And as Ned steps back into the house, he receives a shotgun load of buckshot in his backside.
And my dad had a pair of brand new overalls. And it wasn't a place on his overalls that my mother could patch. It was just, they're white inside and blue on the outside. And they were just shot up. But my daddy was hopping. They tell me, my daddy said, well, pour it in me.
Ned was taken to jail, where he languished for several months until he was brought to trial for attempted murder. Now, the sheriffs had tried to murder him. But in fact, he and other members of the Union were charged with attempted murder. And Ned was convicted and sentenced to 12 years in the state penitentiary.
My grand.
People, again, lies, lies, lies. So which part of this system don't exist anymore again? When people tell people lie upon people. That's the greatest weapon, Lies, lies, lies. The greatest weapon a lie. No skills, lies. I guess if you're one good liar, that is a skill. I mean, I think it's a good skill, but again, these are the things that people idolize. Evil people love them things here. It's your practice. That's why I say, oh, people love lies so much. Oh, they can't take the truth so much. Now you understand why? As we proceed, people.
Courageous. He was courageous, and all he was trying to do was make life better for everyone, not only his family.
You see what I talk about? And that's the difference between us, and them evil people, Evil people won't go on life better for them and them stinking dirty family. Straight. That's what evil people want. Just for them and them stinking family. Meanwhile, we always say it's better for us than just a few. That's why everything I say I create, I say I don't want just be rich. I want to create stuff so other people can enjoy it too. I say I want my t-shirt, them $2 for every t-shirt, I put that to the home, to the female shelter them. I have plans and I like some want to be rich people. I just want to enjoy life like some rich. And it doesn't have to be monetary wise. Just enjoyment of life, being pain free, debt free, worry free. I always have a plan and always have a goal. And just because I not reach there, it doesn't mean I don't have one, As we proceed, people. Welcome to April 1st. To the April Fools. No, to the Everyday Fools. April 1st is for the Everyday Fools. As we proceed. So them fling this man in a jail for 12 years for self-defense. Himself. As we proceed.
Not only his family, not only his brothers and his sisters, and for his wife and his children, but he wanted to see life better for everyone, whether they were white or black. And if he had to spend the 12 years in jail, he would say, so be it, I'll do it.
So so the gun where she did have, the gun where him did have, she have it in her hand right now. The Rise and Fall of Jim Crow, episode 3 or 4. Don't shoot too soon. And it's the Phoenix Sanko from. I'm telling you, so the people them put put them things here together, them don't get a lot of credit because this a channel that it don't have no commercial well, this program don't have no commercial on it. So that's why I'm say. And this have 208,000 views in people. So that means that this is supposed to get it's supposed to get some cash. It's supposed to have commercial on it with 1.6 thousand likes. 208,000 likes and go 1.6 thousand people like it. I wonder how much people are watching so and them not like it. 207,000 207,000 people don't like this video. Are them probably press the dislike button because you know so you can't see the dislike on this. I'm not going to take that off. But even when they did have the dislike button I show people, every video you go on, you say a dislike on it. If about baby, if about dogs, if about anything, you just have somebody out there who hate it. And that may I try to show you people. No matter what you do, you're always going to have somebody out there hate what you do. As we proceed, people.
Difference.
Making life better for African Americans in the early 1930s was a formidable task. As Langston Hughes said, the Depression had knocked everyone down a peg or two, and Negroes had but a few pegs to fall. The NAACP, like the rest of America, was struggling to survive.
People want to see results, and they want to feel that what they're doing is going to lead to something. And I think it was very hard for the NAACP to provide that. There was no political leverage. Black people in the South couldn't vote. There's not any movement forward on the main issues, anti-lynching legislation, sharecroppers getting fair price.
Here she called it NAACP, and it's NAACP or NAACP. Can't tell you time here the first time I think they were on W, they did it for 2. But it means 2A and 2ACP. Even that sound better than NAACP. And even today, me hear this is how them pronounce it, people. NAACP. The people that pronounce it same way today. As we proceed, so NAACP again is an organization that them always need funding. These are the things I'm telling you. So there's so much things people can do with their money, since they now buy a bottle of sauce. I now book me for a couple events. Right? There's so much things you can do with no money. They said Jabem is an organization who fight for the beach them at Jamaica. Right? That's one thing where people can donate their money to. You can donate their money to hospital and can donate their money to organization who make a difference in the community. But again, enough people, if enough foolishness, if it not contribute to a downfall, they're not interested. If it's upliftment and positivity, they're not interested in that. Anything if we destroy ourselves, people, them down with that. I'm telling you, I don't find by myself. I rather stay by myself than anybody help me down. I always said that. I'm fine by myself rather than anybody help me down. As we proceed.
Fair prices for their labor, things aren't changing.
In 1932, Walter White takes over the leadership of the NAACP as its general secretary.
Walter White was so deeply committed and immersed in this organization that I don't think he would let himself consider whether they were failing or not. The point was to keep moving.
Walter White was he was able to keep the organization together when many people were thinking about quitting. Du Bois talked about disbanding the NAACP and getting it started on a new basis. There was a fair amount of just.
You hear him? You might think about to mash up the organization. Somebody I think about to disband the organization, eh? Did Booker T. Washington think about to close down in college? Eh? When Booker T. Washington did have problem to get funding for in college, what him do? The man roll up him sleeve and make him student them add on extra room upon him college. Meanwhile, this man here will come in with an articulate. I'm tell you, so them people will come in with an articulate that and articulate that. Them are the first one to quit. When them pretty words now work. I'm the first one to quit, man, you. I did do a WED book, but me definitely have to do one because I tell you, say come in like say him are the antagonist throughout for we fight for liberty and freedom. As we proceed, people.
For Walter White, from many people on the NAACP staff, Du Bois chief among them. Walter White was a sort of administrator who liked to keep his fingers on everything, including the crisis, which he believed was not reflecting the work of the NAACP so much as reflecting the beliefs and opinions of W.E.B. Du Bois.
So even Mr. White was having issues with W.E.D. Bois. Eh? I love the fact say your hand must depend on everything. When I go work, people, I'm telling you, say, me try to be part of everything. If the dishwasher need help, me did it. If the server need help, me did it. If the chef need help, me did it. Anybody need help, me did it. When I go work for and I say, oh, this is not my job, this is not this is not. If it needs attention, it also needs your attention. That's how I look upon it, you know, people. That's why I say I love doing what I do. I love creating delicious, making dishes that's never been made before, creating new stuff. Cause I kind of get bored of doing the regular, right? But the fancy stuff, them, I love the fancy stuff, them. I probably don't chat fancy, but I love the fancy cooking, the fancy fine dining, pretty on the plate. One little piece of meat for y'all, $300. No, seriously, $300 for your plate of food. People. Just because the food expensive, it doesn't mean that it's fine dining. Just keep that in mind. Okay, people? Just because the food is expensive doesn't mean that it's fine dining. As we proceed,
so much as reflecting the beliefs and opinions of W.E.B. Du Bois. This was Du Bois's vehicle for making known his views. It would broadcast a variety of opinions on important questions of the day, such as what should the Negro's attitude be toward Marxism. Walter White was not so much concerned about many of these theoretical questions.
Yes, but tell us that someone else in the opera listen to somebody sing some terrible voice. There's someone else and got the ballet if you see some people are pounce around. That's what Du Bois was all about. This man was all theories, not practicality. And I that I get from I listen to how people talk about him and how him think. Him feels that everything is supposed to work according to theory, when that's not how it works. It has to be practical. Even if you think about it, it's a good idea. You have to put it in action, right? End result is always a win, because once you put it into action, that's the win. And whatever result, you can always make an adjustment from. So every situation has to have some practicality to it. Yes, we now have 10,000 subscribers yet, but the practical thing is to buy some subscribers. Yes, no? What we say the hardest part is getting the watch hours, right, people? I'm gonna tell you, so the good programs, they don't get the likes and the love. Them get the fight, not from above. As we proceed,
was concerned with making sure that the crisis covered what the NAACP was doing. In 1931, he made a play to get control of the crisis, which was something that Du Bois was aghast at.
They look at each other and begin to say things about each other in a shockingly sharp way. So
shockingly sharp. Them are cuss out each other, people. Two educated people are cuss out each other, because obviously Mr. White must be able to talk the language that he portrays, right? And obviously the boy, you know, he's coming from what university thing come from again? Let me see. A sheer no, I know. No, which university? Fisk. Yeah, Fisk. Fisk University. I wonder if Fisk University still exists today. I have to go Google that. I'm telling you, all of them information here, people, I am gathering this information. So eventually when I put them in the book, right, or collaborate with somebody to write a book on all of this, right, it's accurate. I know exactly what I'm talking about, because now I'm learning and loving what I'm learning, people. I am. It's very interesting. As we proceed,
sharp way, so that Du Bois attacks White as being really a white man masquerading as a Negro.
These people. Now this one actually I pull the race card for the man. I'm telling you, so the separation is now. Man, I can't just imagine this a situation here, you know. The boy's gonna be telling him, look, what you're doing, it doesn't benefit the black people. Remember said Mr. White are going in some serious places to go find out information, you know. Meanwhile, all the boy did is just attack theoretical. Me know the boy people, well, anyways, look, I'm not famous yet. My channel is not reached now yet. So obviously nobody not really care about this so much as if me did have 10,000 followers. Now, if me did have 10,000 followers, me sure say the mother come off of me because me talk about the boy. Okay? But I'm just saying, right? In this situation, right? Mr. White proved himself again. Just like Booker T. Washington proved himself what he's done before. And this man a butt head with the people who's looking out for the best interest. At that, me look for, you know, for the best interest of the African culture, you know. This man sound like one saboteur for real. As we proceed, but enough people talk about him in high regard. And he's was sophisticated, distinguished. He's distinguished, people. As we proceed.
Of the day. And White, of course, is able to give as good as he gets and charge Du Bois with being an egomaniac and an intellectual who doesn't see the needs of the times.
People, I can't tell you, say from me listen to about this one, I can't tell exactly where Mr. White have to say. It's the truth. He sounds like a maniac, an egotistical person who thinks that those fancy words is just gonna open up all doors for all Negroes. Remember, the people them where did I go against Booker T. Washington when them get arrested? He did, the boy never did it for bail them out. It was Booker T. Washington who had to bail them out. Right? So him put them in a pickle, and then Booker T. Washington have to take them out. So now I'm going to go head to head with Mr. White, even though Mr. White has been through so much already. A fight for the black race. And that man try to show you the sellout, them I call you sellout. Past and present, people. Past and present. As we proceed.
For the great majority of Americans, the single overriding fact is the Great Depression and the need to combat that depression, the need to get the American economy rolling again. Everything else was secondary.
Okay, and the Great Depression, people. I don't know how the Great Depression end, and we're still in a depression. People, we're in a Great Depression same way, but I guess we're moving to denial now because we have entertainment. Yes, we have entertainment now, so there's no depression anymore. It's funny. I got my text to the palm producer we in program, you know. I say I can't watch them as something depressing, something. No, I say I can't watch these programs too often because after me done laugh, I get depressed. Because the same thing that happened then is happening now, people. Only say the people them now, I tell them, say, no man. I know so it go. No man, I know so it go. As we proceed, people.
In 1933, a new president, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, was elected. He had promised a New Deal for everyone.
Oh no, here we go again. And that's one of the things we hear them people nowadays. Everybody I promise. I promise, I promise. Even every little thing them, I promise, I promise. Why do you guys use words one not supposed to use? A promise is a comfort to a fool. It's very rare anybody keep them promise. If you are gonna keep your word, well, you have to make a promise for. That's why I'm gonna make promises. Because if your word is good enough, you don't have to promise nothing. Obviously, Roosevelt, the brother here, Roosevelt, him one of them people that were coming at that time away. Trust me, he never do no good either. As we proceed.
But to get the economy rolling, he would need the support of Southern senators. Programs to advance racial equality would have to wait. But for
And that match I show you, and it's still a wait. 2025, April 1st. People, it's still a wait. That's why I say I promise I compare to a fool. Anytime a person promise anything, my ears just send off an alarm. Because more than likely that they promise they not come. Especially when they come from one liar. But as we proceed.
E.B. Du Bois, waiting was not an option.
Du Bois came up with a proposal that since the New Deal wasn't going to solve the problem of the African American should do it him and herself within the context of the racial segregation that in any case was not going to go away, whatever the New Deal did. And to sell that point, Du Bois did what he so often did. He made it so controversial that you would have to address it by writing three editorials using the word segregation and separation. And these were red flags to the NAACP and its many followers. The whole point was racial integration.
He sort of came out in favor of separate schools in the article, which was very, very much against the tradition of the NAACP.
But Du Bois knew that everybody would stop and pause and say, what's going on? But in fact,
you see what I'm talking about? Words. Them use them big words to get people attention, but it don't mean nothing. You don't understand people? That's why I'm saying I hear them people use big words in a sentence when I have nothing to do with the sentence. It's just I give the people them a false sense of hope. Say, yes, man, they must say big words so you know when you're in a bush and them tell you, say, Peeny Wally a flying saucer, right? And they said, no man, as small, it's small. It's just so far, so it looks small. And people believe that until them have the proof, right? Until them get the proof, them believe it. But then people, even when them people are proof to them, say, this is what they're gonna do, this is not what they're gonna do, them believe it anyways. As we proceed.
Pause and say, what's going on? But in fact, they stopped and they were so shaken that they didn't find out really what was going on. This would have been like Du Bois writing an editorial using the word nigger.
I know that this article will forthwith be interpreted by certain illiterate nitwits as a plea for segregated Negro schools. It is not. It is saying in plain English that
You hear him use the word nitwit? Long time I don't hear that word there though, for real. But a nitwit is pretty much an idiot, people. And even back then, these people are aware of the idiots. Just saying, as we proceed.
Negro school where children are treated like human beings, trained by teachers of their own race who know what it means to be black, is infinitely better than making our boys and girls doormats to be spit and tramped upon and lied to by ignorant social climbers whose sole claim to superiority is the ability to kick niggas when they are down. W.E.B. Du Bois.
Du Bois was being pragmatic. Do you accept the separate equality? Supreme Court isn't going to do anything about it, he thought, for 50 years.
What Du Bois was trying to say in that article was that, look, integration is important, but there's something more important than integration, and that is the education of African American children and their welfare. See, the thing to remember here is Du Bois believed that African American teachers were quite capable of teaching African American kids. The resources weren't there, but the teachers were there.
My first grade teacher in a wooden frame school, believe it or not, used to have all the black kids in the first grade. She'd tell us what we wore on Wednesday, and by Friday we were supposed to walk out before the class, always with our chest out and our shoulders up, and say, I'm Frederick Douglass, and I did this, I did this, I did that. My name is W.E.B. Du Bois, and this is what I did. I graduated from Fisk University. I went to Harvard, and I wrote a book called The Souls of Black Folk. We couldn't even read, but we were doing this. My name is Sojourner Truth, little girl. My name is Ida B. Wells, and you go right on down the line.
Du Bois felt that self-segregation was something that was all right, and Black institutions were important, indeed critical for building strength within Black communities. And he articulated this in the pages of The Crisis, and Walter White and a number of the board members just wouldn't tolerate it.
So, okay, people, so now he must say the same thing where Booker T. Washington did I say. Look, we need to have our own. It's best for us to have choices. That's what I'm going to say. You see, if you have your own business and you have a part-time job and whatever, but just the fact that you're independent for yourself is so important. It make you feel so much better. Because anytime them people decide to move in a different direction, they're never taking you. And then can move in any direction anytime. But once you have your little business I go on, and now I go say it I go perfect, people. Cause I'm telling you the struggles them when I go through for money when I spend for just create what I have. That's why I respect Mr. Joseph Patterson, because him take him time to create a third party, right? Them have the Marcus Garvey party at Jamaica too, right? Them have a few party, but he's a registered, which means him supposed to depend on the ballot box. That's why every time I just hear them talk about PNP and JLP, it's so disrespectful to the third party is like said the people them just talk about PNP and JLP, right? Them don't want to hear no third party because them like the division, right? Me not say if you spend your whole day upon a third party, you know, but me I say they must be included. Only one better and not include the possibility of better in it. It doesn't matter how I feel about Mr. Joseph Patterson because me hear people say many things about him. But it's a party. He's not the only person in the party. And that me say, if you don't agree with some of the stuff that my people say, you can't throw out everything what them say. I don't agree with everything did what is thing, but obviously some things when them say is good. I agree with this. So if we have our own businesses, right? Me hear the question the man asks how much big black owned companies like them have McGregor meat, like how much big meat company you know owned by black people. Or any company other than clothing company and them thing the entertainment and those things. Those are given. But if you say have like a big company where have thousands and thousands of employees, it's hard. Remember me that talk to my nephew, you know, and we that talk about the same thing. And me say how much construction company where black people own. And the time I talk to him, I find one. And when I Google the man, probably have to go do a highlight on him still. When I Google him, he's not from Jamaica. He's from a small island. The man sent time and put up him website and everything, right? Nobody wouldn't hire him. He have to put up one white picture for people start calling. I'm gonna tell you, we are not supposed to have anything. And even we believe that because we don't support each other. What me say? Person tell me say, me remember them when me get rich. Somebody will never buy a buckle of sauce off of me yet, you know. I tell me say me for remember him when me get rich. What that supposed to mean, people? When people tell you that, what that mean? Hmm? When them buy Prada and them buy um 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 Louis and them buy Chanel company there. Them care if them people they know them? Seriously. Them care if them people they know them? So you want me to remember you when me get rich, work my butt off and get rich so you can't tell. So you know remember me, give me something no? But what did you ever contribute? When me say I will never beg anybody for anything. Because begging is pretty much groveling. That's all in my personal opinion. If I ask you for something and you don't want to do it, you don't want to get, how is me begging is gonna make it better? Or me degrading myself to beg you something I gonna make it better? When the answer should be yes if you're gonna do it and no if you're not gonna do it. But me groveling and begging, I pity me a look. That's what me look upon. So me ask. Me always ask for support. Me ask for my family support. Me ask for my friend them support. Me ask from strangers. I will always ask. But no, me not go beg. That's why I say sometimes it sounds like say if we not beg, we not get no help. But me say if me have to beg, me not need that help there. Thank you very much. As we proceed, people.
Tolerated.
Southern congressmen began to quote Du Bois in the congressional record because they were saying, indeed, we should have a code of relief for whites, a code of relief for blacks. So the association, Walter White now running it, said, quiet, shut up, they're quoting you, the outstanding civil libertarian in the congressional record. Bilbo says you're great. And Du Bois says, doesn't matter. This is an issue.
White was an organization man. He loved the NAACP. It was his church. He was going to run it, and Du Bois was going to follow in line. And of course, Du Bois wasn't going to follow in line. There could be.
Yes, I tell you, that man, I'm a real instigator, you know. Anything we're going in the right direction, this man I just want push it in a film direction. Not saying in the wrong direction, you know, but in a film direction. Now, all that brother your son, I'm telling you, same sound just like all them talk about Joseph Patterson. Right? And I say, if Joseph Patterson now say it's the People's Party, the people are supposed to go to him and say, okay, Mr. Patterson, if it's our party, this is what we would like for our party. If a 30 of uno, right, feel this way, uno write a petition, just like how the boy write it in paper, uno put it on the internet and say, dear Mr. Patterson of the UIC, this is what we would like to see change in your party for us to be on board. Yes? No? Because me hear people talk. I send one message on them thing there before. I'm telling them, say, just because we don't have 10,000 followers, then nobody cares about what you say. So it's only the popular people have something worthy to say. Don't you guys know that? As we proceed.
Equivocation on this. And so Du Bois ultimately resigned in 1934. Yeah, I think in part he may have felt that the NAACP had been spent, that it didn't have the flexibility, that White was too limiting and narrow in his vision.
In the August 1934 issue of The Crisis, Du Bois explains he needed to criticize the NAACP, and the board wouldn't let him. He was leaving not because change couldn't come, but because, he said, personally, I can do nothing more.
Go on about the business, yes. Go on about the business. I'm telling you, say, if you don't know, put something in there to make it better. What are you in it for? What are you guys in it for? A two-person now, this man I go against so far, you know. And I can imagine there's more people. There's many more people in go against. Because theme ideals is set in his way. Meanwhile, that's not how it's supposed to be, though, people. If we want better, we have to work together. As we proceed.
But there was much left to be done if Black America was to enjoy the benefits guaranteed to all Americans by the Constitution. One man, Charles Hamilton Houston, believed that not only could the NAACP do more, it had to take the lead. In 1935, he left his job as the dean of the prestigious law school at Howard University to become the NAACP's first full-time salaried legal counsel in 20 years.
Charles Hamilton Houston went to South Carolina with a movie camera and would film county by county the black school and the white school. And it was just this visual essay in inequality, but inequality doesn't even describe it. I mean, just the awful conditions that young black children went to school under. I mean, they had schoolhouses where there were cracks in the wall, they were crowded together on benches. And then the white school in the same county would be a brick structure, 2 stories, basketball court. I mean, it was just so clearly unequal.
Basketball courts, people who can't play basketball. Oh my goodness. And people, this man was walking around with video camera back then, a video tape. I wonder if people did ask him, oh, so what are you doing with a video camera? Why are you walking around with a video camera? Huh? Now you see video camera upon every cell phone possible. Sometimes say you have to be an innovator. You have to be a leader. Can't be a follower. That's why I say I do these things, because people, there's so much what you call it, trending stuff. Topic on can jump on this news flash, hashtag, all of them sitting there. But people, I say I wanna create stuff for me can go listen to when time I reach 120. Something will have meaning. Listen to people talk will have sense. More than run with the narrative of something that you're gonna forget tomorrow. Since I've been doing this, so much name and so much things, so much, the information is so needed for me. But me sitting down and listening and listening and listening and couldn't hear it, people. I am so happy now me I hear it. So when I write in a book, if you want it and you can't get it, make it. That's why I love over here, so people. I love over here. And that's the truth. On April 1st. When I turn on my live, I'm say, is it on? It's me, I find people were so interesting, so it's so refreshing to read stories about great people. Great Moors. Because all of these people are Moors. All of them people I want more. All of them people I want betterment. All of them people didn't think just for themselves alone. Them inspire other people. As we proceed.
Ball court. I mean, it was just so clearly unequal. And he would use that to show in the North, to kind of get support for the campaign and really put a face on what segregation meant.
There were still people, even the NAACP, who thought that Black people simply had to improve their own worlds and to make them sort of somehow better and more sustainable. Huston said, if
pull yourself up by your bootstring so we can kick you off. So we can kick you over and over again. Like the sisters will then kick over the bridge, even though she have fight to come back on, and kick her over and over and over. And then brag and laugh about it the next day, or she have fight. Yes, them love to see we struggle, people. I saw them get off. Because people without soul, people, what me say? Soul music. Where soul music come from? Can it come from people who have no soul? Hello? Anybody there? Yes, AI. I know you're there, AI. I know you're there. But how can a person without soul have sympathy, feelings? Huh? Evil people don't have no soul. Them a look soul. They're looking souls, people. This is why I'm talk about chopping of soul. So when I talk about free soul, right? And I was ridiculed April 1st, but it wasn't April 1st, I was ridiculed. The very fact said there's so much souls trapped that needs freedom. Many people don't understand those things. I can't understand them things because their thoughts is only set in a human frame. It can't go beyond that. Be unlimited. We are. As we proceed.
settlements are somehow better and more sustainable. Huston said it won't work that way. We have to basically integrate ourselves into all of the public goods and public resources that are around us. And until we do that, we're going to always be considered inferior.
Discrimination in education is symbolic of all the more drastic discriminations which Negroes suffer in American life. And these apparent senseless discriminations in education against Negroes have a very definite objective on the part of the ruling whites: to curb the young blacks and prepare them to accept an inferior position in American life without protest or struggle. The discriminations practiced against the Negro are no accident.
Okay, and you hear them call the people Negro. We the Negro race. We the black race. We the African race. We have so much name. Which one of them are the right one? Huh? Until I consider myself an African descendant, born in Jamaica, living in Canada, looking to move to Africa. Well, everywhere I go, I am me. Everywhere you go, you are you. It doesn't matter where you go or where you're born. You're always going to be you. Unique. And that we have to look upon, you know. No matter where them call we. We are we. Us. As we proceed.
Accident. Charles Huston.
Huston was convinced that the battle for civil rights had to be won in the schools, but would have to be fought in the courts.
Yeah, you hear that, people? Fighting at the court. When we talk about policies, huh? When we talk about policies, policies need to be written, created to change things. That's the only way we can change things, you know. The policies, even though them no look at policies, even today. They make the policies, brought the policies, but with a pen and piece of paper, it still doesn't mean anything. It's the reinforcement of what's on the paper. Yes? Policies don't change nothing. It's the enforcement of policies that change stuff. As we proceed, and never say them go fight in a dark alley, then say them go fight in a court. As we proceed.
In the courts. But while Huston would look to the courts, White was looking to the president.
Roosevelt himself is not thinking African Americans when he comes in. But what he is thinking is we need a program that embraces all Americans. We need to provide relief for people. And that sort of inclusive, democratic spirit, African Americans interpret that as that includes us.
A third of all African American families were directly assisted by the Works Progress Administration in the 1930s. And as numerous blacks made the point at the time, this gave them hope. This made them, for the first time, really feel included.
But with all the gains in housing, jobs, and public facilities, one condition remained unchanged. Segregation was still the rule, not the exception. And in the South, lynchings continued unabated. In the North, the NAACP anti-lynching campaign gained new momentum with a new argument. In a widely circulated brochure, the NAACP reminded the nation of the potential damage to all of its children. Do not look at the Negro. Look at the white children, it said. What havoc is being wrought in their minds? For 20.
Okay, people, I'm telling you, say, even though we go through this, them go through psychological damage too, because a person strip themselves of humanity, if you live a certain way, them dead. There's no humanity in a person that's evil. He's only pretending to be a human. And I feel the same way about all evil people. Because evil people, them do evil against anybody. Evil people do evil against them own blood. Them own picnic evil people. Do evil against. Them own kids people. The things what them do is not human. But them pretend to be human. As we proceed.
For 20 years, the NAACP had been crusading against lynching. Now, after years of lobbying, protest, and marching, support for a federal law slowly gained momentum. By 1938, 70% of Americans expressed support for an anti-lynching bill. For Walter White, it was time to increase pressure on Congress.
The same arguments that were made by Southern Dixiecrats and senators then are the same arguments you hear now. No, this is going to empower the federal government. It's got to be states' rights. You're taking away the autonomy of the states. The 11th Amendment, states and individuals have to be protected from this kind of federal intrusion. Don't take away our states' rights.
Walter White, not having any luck with senators on the fence, goes to Eleanor Roosevelt and says, you got to help me here. You got to get the president to speak out on this. But
we hear about Roosevelt. She had the wife, and she did have some compassion, and that means that it's not everybody in a skin is evil. That's why we can't say this skin is evil. We say the person is evil. That's one thing we have to clarify, people. We have to clarify that evil people are not humans. We have to get it in our head. We say evil people don't care about nothing except committing evil. We keep on stressing this, Evil people don't care about nothing. Just to commit more evil. Them did have the Boston Strangler. Them did have some sick people where used to go around and do some things. These people them never stop until them get caught or unless them get boxed up. That are the only time. This is what they call some people repeat offenders. Right? Because them not stop do what them a do until them get boxed up. That's how evil work. As we proceed.
you got to help me here. You got to get the president to speak out on this. But I think that Walter really confused being near people with power with having access to power himself. And ultimately, he was disappointed time and again when Franklin Roosevelt wouldn't come through with his promises.
Here, people, this promise thing again. Lies and promises, pretty much the same thing. Them all you say them are going to do. And when them get the opportunity to do, then change their mind. Nobody's obligated to do anything unless they want to do it. And most of the time they don't want to do it. Juneteenth is supposed to be a federal holiday, you know. How much petition that's written? Over millions of signed. Millions signed the petition to make Juneteenth a federal holiday. And the people them rather use the money to go do research. People. That's why I say the next generation, we can't things that promise I go change nothing. It has to be written in paperwork and reinforced. Them say jaywalking is a crime. If you cross the street at the wrong time, it's a crime. But is it being reinforced? Not really. But it could be reinforced because it's a law. As we proceed.
When Eleanor Roosevelt, who was extraordinarily influential, couldn't deliver.
The president was frankly unwilling to challenge the Southern leadership. I did not choose the tools with which I must work, he told me. If I come out for the anti-lynching bill, they will block every bill I ask Congress to pass. I just can't take that risk.
You see? That's a next thing, people. I say. If the people them in the position for change the things what they're supposed to change, and this someone I say, he can't take the risk. He can't. There you go. He can't take that the risk there. So how we are going to change things? Policies, petitions. As we proceed.
Walter White. When the federal anti-lynching bill is put before Congress in 1938, it is filibustered to death.
Walter White would have continued to fight for a anti-lynching law in perpetuity, but for Charles Houston's arguments that the law is never going to pass, don't be so focused on this particular campaign. Look at how the NAACP could grow in other areas.
Charles Houston wanted to emphasize to Walter White that there was already civil rights legislation and law available. Officers of the law were not supposed to subject persons to loss of life or deprivation of rights. It is a matter of the lives of African Americans being valued.
Houston knew that the Constitution, properly understood and rightly applied, would give Black Americans the freedom they were fighting for. So he took the fight to the courts.
My grandfather saw the courts as the ideal way to achieve equality, because if you fought that fight and you won, well, then it would be a legitimate victory. And it would be one that would be recognized by everyone and would have the weight of authority behind it.
Their hope was to build towards some Supreme Court decisions that would begin to turn the tide and open the way towards challenging segregation in education. And so he had a strategy.
Charles Houston, having his training from Harvard Law School, understood that judges are not going to make decisions that will overturn rulings having to do with constitutional interpretation unless absolutely necessary. So it was Charles Houston who became the strategist and the architect for a campaign that would gradually dismantle the precedent of Plessy versus Ferguson, the 1896 separate but equal doctrine.
So they began to carefully pick cases that they would litigate, pick cases to win.
And cases that would establish precedent. Cases that, in Charles Houston's words, would make plain the inequality that existed in the educational opportunities of Blacks and whites, and would make true equality too expensive for states to maintain. In 1936, Houston and his legal team would find a case with all the right components. Lloyd Gaines, a college graduate, had been denied entrance to the law school at the University of Missouri because of his race. Houston argued that Missouri was obligated to either build a law school for Blacks equal to that of whites, or admit him to the University of Missouri.
Gaines became the first time when the United States Supreme Court was asked expressly, does a state have an obligation to provide professional education to people of color if there is no professional education available within that state? And the court said yes. And they ordered the University of Missouri to allow Lloyd Gaines to be admitted. And it was incredibly influential.
The Gaines case laid the groundwork for Houston's master plan. It would become the basis for the legal battles that would one day bring an end to legalized Jim Crow in America. But this one victory would not be enough for Charles Hamilton Houston. Over the years to come, Houston would pursue cases at every level, fighting against segregation in all aspects of American society.
He saw himself as a soldier who needed to work 20 hours a day, and he did so very, very often.
My grandfather had no tolerance for slackers or laziness or excuses.
People, you look like a no-nonsense liar for real, you know. I'm telling you, say, look for some of them people. You can't tell people this is a good guy, this is a bad guy. How? Because evil people can't hide, good people can't hide. Right? Good people can't hide, evil people can't hide. I give them the benefit of the doubt. When I believe the good people, we believe the bad people, because guess what? Lies, lies, lies. As we proceed.
He believed in getting it done no matter the personal cost.
I think my father saw himself as a soldier, as a fighter in a long campaign against injustice. He did not stint in his hours or in his travel or in his legal preparation, despite the fact that his health was declining.
After suffering 2 heart attacks on April 22nd, 1950, Charles Hamilton Houston died.
My father, on his deathbed in the hospital, was given a book written by the attorney Louis Nizer entitled Peace of Mind, and that in the margin of one of the pages of that book, he inscribed to me the message, tell Bo, which was my pet name as a boy, that I did not run out on him, but that in every fight, some fall.
People, you know, the book, him write it for him son. You see why it's so important about past, present, and future? Because I'm telling you, say, we must leave something for the next generation. We can't just say, oh, you know, say, money did depend on my mind. No, people, that's not going to be enough. I'm going to look on some of them little kids nowadays and see. I see myself in them without the guidance. That's why I'm saying I'd love to have like a father's club where any kid will not have a father, the mother can always sign them up to this, right? And then like we can them somehow they would match up with a father, responsible father. People, I'm not talking nobody what I do. I do time for the weekend, okay? I'm talking responsible male in our society, and we have enough. There's lots of great male in our society, but these great males are not being highlighted. That's not the agenda. The agenda is for we find entertainers to be our leaders. and when things get disastrous, when I hear from them and when I see them, you soon see them pop out now and I tell you, vote for this and vote for that. Entertainer can't tell you who to vote for when it's we're not supposed to look on the policies, what's written by these people who are looking the position. $5,000 in a box food. But I tell you people, I tell you say, ooh, this a society. Yeah. This a version of a society. Cause this is me not call this a society. In a society you need family, you need culture, you need community. As we proceed.
He died in 1950, so he wasn't around when the historic victories came to light. He wasn't visible during the civil rights movement, even during Brown, and because of that, he was, in too many quarters, largely forgotten. But make no mistake, he is the architect. He transformed the legal culture within this country. That kind of courage is essentially what transformed this country. Unless there were a handful of Black folks who, after being beat down, were willing to stand up and say, my head is bloody but not bowed, it would not be possible to imagine change.
Amid the terror of mob violence, the tragedies of inferior schools, and exploitive bosses, amidst every attempt to impose white supremacy and suppress Black advancement, there were triumphs, seen and unseen. Du Bois had demonstrated the power of Black leadership. Walter White had challenged America to confront its shame. Charles Hamilton Houston had convinced the courts to uphold the law. They and hundreds of others, Black and white, men and women, were planting in churches and colleges and the halls of government the seeds of a more assertive battle for racial justice. But while there was cause for celebration, Charles Houston sounded a cautionary note.
So far, so good. But the fight has just begun. Maybe the next generation will be able to take time out to rest. But we have too far to go and too much work to do. Shout if you want, but don't shout too soon.
Wanna get me, people? Shout, but not too soon. People, me telling you, say, right through, me tell you, so the people that used to stand up for them dead off and nobody no replace them. Me always say that the good people are dying, are transcending, and there's no replacement for greatness. Because now I'm telling you, say, we have TikTok and we can laugh and joke and all of them things there, and then click to something else and laugh and joke, and then click to something else and laugh and joke, and that's it. It doesn't have to mean anything anymore. Not like how it used to mean to us, how important it is. The man said next generation can rest. But we can't rest, people. We can't take a deep breath, yes? And out. In. Out. In. We can do that, people. We can take a deep breath. But things not change. Things hasn't changed, people. The same evil minded people them then are the same evil minded people them now. And we understand, so we always are going to have evil. As long as we have human, we are going to have evil. But we must call out evil. We must call it evil. We must call it for what it is. We can't blame everybody. We just got to blame the people who are doing it. The evil people. Because if I did have everything set up, I would have some evil collection from my website, yes? And just talk about recognizing evil. Because we know what evil is. Evil is the evil is the stopping of progress, is cheating of life, hurting humanity, destroying the earth. Nobody never say you're not supposed to make money. But if you make money from death and destruction, you know, make nothing. You're not making anything. You're destroying something to get something. We have to learn, people. We have to understand. We all have a responsibility, you know. And just because we ignore the responsibility, you know, means that the responsibility are gonna go away. It's still always gonna be there. People, that's the absolute truth, you know. It's April 1st, people, 2025. It's a new month, but the fight continues. Even in our new month, the objective doesn't change. We need betterment. We deserve betterment. We earn betterment. As we proceed, people, again, I want to thank all of the people that watch live or watching at the rerun. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for the like. Thank you for the share. I'm telling you, I don't mind get 20, 30 subscriber whenever. Again, this is it's an educational channel, so I know say I not gonna get no sponsor. I have to work with what I have. Right? I'm asking people for support the channel. Right? I don't think that's a lot. And again, sometimes we have to listen to people. No banga nice and all of them things. They just listen. Because we have 2 ears. And we have sense. We have so much sense, people. If we accept nonsense as sense, that's on us. We know better. And we do better. If we know better, we're supposed to do better. We're not supposed to wait for other people to assure what good is. When we know what good is, we know what bad is because we know what evil is. We just mix up everything as one. We are just mix up everything in a one when everything shouldn't be mixed. This is not one pot of soup, people. This is our existence. Not just now, in the future too. Because if we look on the past and look on the present and see the same thing, that's why it's not going to change in the future. But if we see it and call it out, educate each other, be aware, people. We have to be aware. Because enough people, them are wolf, or pretend to be sheep. It's so important, people, for we teach each other, respect each other, and look on the next generation, educate them. Because it's not everything that's about money. People, $50 million and you can't come out of jail. I keep on saying that, Because me sure if them say $100 million, $200 million, and them say, no, we don't want your money. We want to keep you exactly. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. If you don't have 2 lawyers or 3 lawyers, good lawyer, I say all of them things are going. We're supposed to have like one law institution where if you need help, you can go there and lawyer will gladly look on your case. Even if you have study case or something, other than go to GoFundMe or go to legal aid and them things there. And that me tell you, before the unity used to be there, we used to look out for each other, take care of each other. When since we become such an enemy of each other, where it becomes an individual thing where you have to be the richest. Oh, my house bigger than every house around. Like me not understand. You go transcend and leave the house, All that energy there you spend at build a house. And you live in there for 2 days. Because it takes so long to build and you could have built 6 houses. How comes we become so glorify ourselves as the greatest, the only thing on earth that's important? Every breath you take is precious, people. We talk about December. Every breath you take is a gift of life. But December we spend so much money on something meaningless, presents and something. 2 days later it mash up, we dash it out. It never lasts by the end of the month. We yam, we drink. January we broke, we not have nothing. We have to thief people planting. After we done yam and drink and celebrate and over celebrate, we still have to turn pan we neighbor we have little bit for themselves. That's not humanity, people. That's greed. We can do better, Because if you listen to the young lady speak, even the young ones, them are realize and understand so much more than us. We need to get better, people. And getting better is not a bad thing, To uplift each other is not a bad thing. To tell somebody say them do a good job is not a bad thing, people. It's necessary. To uplift each other, it's necessary. We've been downtrodden for centuries. So at times we start uplift each other, support each other, give a shout out. Me personally, me say, if I try my best and my best is not good enough, I find somebody to show my best. Don't feel detected or neglected because when you give your best, some people don't appreciate it. Appreciate love it. That's just 1 or 2 people. If you bring a glass of water to a person, I sit down on the beach already. They probably never want it. But if you bring a glass of water to a person in the desert, what do you think? Same person, different place. As we proceed, people, again, thank on the people. It's always manners, respect, enough. Thank on for no like, thank on for no share. Again, enough people it's not gonna listen, people. Enough people just want 10 minutes or 5 minutes. But me say, you can't listen 20 minutes and go back go listen 20 minutes. It's gonna be there. Until them say a time for we stop teach each other, it's gonna be there. As we proceed, people, welcome to April 1st. Be truthful to yourself and make them go and lie to themselves. I'm out.